Denise, I'm reading like horribly. I told you I need new glasses. I
You
haven't got
need
them
new
yet.
glasses.
Denise.
Denise Rescue, Royal Oak.
Beautiful. Melissa.
Melissa Bering, Royal Oak.
Awesome. Laura.
Laura Bonnell, Royal Oak.
Pat.
Pat Perush, Royal Oak.
Awesome. And then the two we would be waiting for would be Jody. I see no Jody. And I see no Alicia.
And I resent the invitations to both of them because you had different emails than I did. But with Jody, because I wasn't sure on her Gmail, I also sent it to her city account. So I did do everything I could. Do you want me to try to call them?
What was that?
Ask Alicia to see if she's coming on.
All right. Regardless of them, I think we do have a quorum, so we could keep moving, right?
Okay.
So, public comment. Do we have any people for public comment?
Not have anybody in the audience for public comment. They don't know what they're missing.
I know, right?
We should get all our friends on. It would be fun.
Seeing none, I will move to an approval of our agenda. We'll update about the installation of the mosaic. We will. I asked that we keep all of our other stuff in the agenda, but we will just probably glaze over most of it because nothing's changed for most of it since last month. I just don't want us to lose these things in the future, if that makes sense. I would love for us to be able to come back to them someday. The biggest thing being our unfinished business, and Melissa has a presentation for us for that, right, Melissa?
All I did was take all of our conversations and put them in snapshots. So yes.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to stop sharing, and Melissa, you can share now. So you can share your screen and play that if you wanted to for everyone.
So we didn't approve the minutes, right?
Hold on. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do our parliamentary stuff. So we'll, is there a motion to approve our minutes or our agenda? Sorry. Denise,
Yes.
motions?
Yes.
Support by Pat. All in favor?
Pat.
Aye.
Oh, I got to do that roll call. Hold on. Denise,
Yes.
Melissa, Laura,
Yes.
Pat.
Yeah.
There we go. That moves our agenda. Did we have minutes to approve?
I did send them to you, but yeah, I don't know. We can approve them next time.
Got it. So that will move us forward. The bad part about sitting on a computer is there's so many things coming at you at the same time. It's like, it's not like sitting in front of somebody. It's sitting in front of 50 people trying to reach you at the same time. Got to turn off every notification of everything. So we had other stuff listed on our agenda, but none of that stuff really matters. Tonight, the biggest part of our discussion should be, what's that?
During the warmth matters, I saw.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My apologies for that. That's why not seeing the piece of paper in front of me is kind of important. So, Carol, would you be able to send me that agenda?
Yeah.
Awesome. That way I will not put my foot in my mouth. So
We'll
sorry.
interrupt you if we need to, Jason.
Thank you.
Always.
over here.
It's been an interesting year.
Melissa, we can't hear you.
Can't.
We can if you're speaking right up close to the microphone, but if you scoot back, we can't hear you.
Thank you, Pat. I apologize for that.
That's okay. I just noticed it just now.
Whoops.
Good.
And it's more a product, I think, of Zoom recognizing
Yeah.
the microphone than it is you, I think.
Yeah.
It's that distance part.
It
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoom is an imperfect platform.
Yeah, I'll behave. I'll get closer.
There you go.
I had to do the same thing. I have like this little thing, like I just hide it out of frame.
Nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds. Sorry, my email was being a little funny too.
Maybe it's my email address that's horrible or something. Maybe it didn't send the other thing to me.
Google was down earlier today pretty intently. So if you have anything that goes through any Google servers, you were,
Oh,
for quite a long time this morning. Like they were down for quite a bit.
That explains a lot. I kept getting email addresses to bouncing back, and I knew they were good addresses.
It was most everything on their platform too, which really kind of makes me a little bit afraid. If you know anything about Google or the internet. A lot.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. I hope that helps.
Oh, it's awesome. So there's our notice of a meeting. These are the people coming. Public comments, approval of agenda, approval of minutes, November 16th, 2020, which were emailed to us, right? So we
Mhm.
could approve them. Would we like to?
I mean, I only emailed them to you.
yeah. I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah.
We'll try to put those on the next month's agenda.
I'll link them next time. I'm sorry.
That's
That's okay.
okay.
No, don't worry.
So that brings us to number 6, financial update. We've changed nothing since last month. So
Well, you
we're
have,
doing good.
they have 2 bills going out for the installation of the mosaic.
Oh, right.
Beautiful. Did we figure out what that ended up costing?
There were 2 bills for a total of $6,000. One was 4,800, and that was for the person putting together all of the tiles. He refers to it as a puzzle cut. And 1,200 for the gentleman who built the wooden frame and I guess set everything in place so that the tiles could be put in.
Any update on the lighting part that we were going to fund too?
Judy had taken the city electrician, Corey Reiser, and she and Corey had gone over to the district court because he did a lighting installation there for something that they display. And Judy and Corey both believe that the same lighting installation will work for lighting the mosaic. And I don't know what the cost was. I don't think it was very much. I think you allocated $7,500 for this total project, which
Yep.
would be at $1,500 for the lighting and a plaque. And I think the lighting is substantially lower than that. I don't know what the status is of him coming to install it. I can double check that with Judy tomorrow.
Beautiful. Yes, Pat.
Paul Brake, who's the city manager, invited the city commission members to go with him on a tour of the new Henry Ford facility, and which we did, and it was just Shar Douglas and I. And he had us meet inside the new city hall first, so that we could see the mural because it had been installed. This was just last week, and so we got to see it, and it's gorgeous. It's just, to see it in person, it's just incredible. And when you're standing there, and it's in the hallway that goes from the main entrance area down into the hallways, which connects you to like the city clerk's office on one side and all the planning people on the other side. So it's right in the area where the public would pass by to get to the working parts of the city hall. And you're not struck by the fact that, oh, it needs more lighting, this is too dark.
Oh,
And it's a well-lit hallway, and probably some targeted lighting, like the lighting that Judy was describing that they had in the district court, or even some spotlight lighting, would make a lot of it like pop a lot more. But you don't look at it and think, oh, I can't see, it's a very well lit hallway. So it'll be nice to have some additional lighting, but it's not as if we're not going to be able to appreciate it until the lighting is installed. It really looks incredible. It just is incredible. So if they're working on the lighting, fine, but it looks pretty darn good right now.
That's awesome.
Right.
So if
I
it's
know.
not out of order, Pat, Commissioner Perush, if the other members of the committee want to see it, now that it has the frame and everything on it, if you want to call or text me, I would be happy to have you guys come in masked up one at a time to see it.
Yeah,
Here's
you should all go see it.
Yeah.
Pat's right. It's really, really beautiful.
Here's another random question. I don't know how much of this could happen at this moment, and I guess this would probably take us to the next thing, which is the artist laureate update anyway, on our agenda. But what are the chances? I know that there's been pieces put out, like a few social media posts and things from the artists themselves and City Hall and stuff like that. But what are the chances that we could acknowledge the artist laureates and our commissioners here all together in some kind of photo op or something like that? Is that possible, or maybe not so much
I
right now?
don't know if that's possible right now just because of the restrictions, but
The only reason I ask, so I guess that I say that to say, if we could remember at some point to do that when the restrictions are let up in some capacity, I think that would be fantastic to everybody. I mean, to you guys. I'm saying to you guys that are here with me right now. I think it should be. We should acknowledge all of our volunteers here for being committed to helping make something like that happen. I think that would be great to acknowledge that publicly somehow. So I just like to express my desire to do that, all of us at some point, and to make a big to do of it somehow,
Mhm.
because that's a pretty big thing for us to have funded an artist laureate for the first ones in our community, for it to end up in such a beautiful, large piece of artwork that speaks so much about our community and is so prominently displayed in our brand new city hall that will be here for generations to come. I think it speaks to that project to acknowledge that. Yes, Pat.
This was a while ago, but Judy Davids was talking about folding in the unveiling of the mural with a grand opening ceremony for the new city hall. Now, obviously, that's been postponed. And then there was thought to combine the grand opening of the new city hall with the new police station. And the police station won't open until January. But then, of course, all those buildings are going to be closed to the public for a while anyway. And we've just been extended to the end of March to have meetings like this on Zoom as opposed to doing them in person. So, I mean, everybody knows that nothing is going to happen real quickly. So I think acknowledging the work of this group is important. And I think Judy has it in the back of her mind to maybe fold it in with the grand opening ceremony of the entire city hall. So we should probably give some thought to that as to how we might want to approach it in the future. But we definitely have time, or we're not going to be able to do anything, as Carol has said, anytime soon.
Awesome. I appreciate that. We don't get a whole lot of opportunity to acknowledge this group and the tremendous amount of effort that they've put in over the last 8 years. And it's true of most people serving in our community, but I just think an opportunity like this would be remiss if we didn't utilize it to celebrate ourselves to some degree. Yes, Pat.
One other thing I was going to mention later, I looked at our ordinance that created us in terms of the grant program that we're thinking about doing, just to make sure that it's within the purview of what we're allowed to do. And I think we are, but we need to double check it. But anyway, bottom line is, in one section of the ordinance, it says, in December of each year, all goals should be submitted to the city commission, the goals of this commission, to the city commission for approval, along with a report detailing the progress on previously established goals. Now, I know in the past, James was the one who put together our annual report, and December was the month that is the month that this ordinance requires us to submit it. We haven't done a whole lot this year, although we've done some things, obviously. And I think when he has presented that report in the past, that has been an opportunity to explain not only programs like this, like the Mural Project, but also talk about other things that we've been doing. So I'm not saying that we necessarily need to do something special about the mural, but I don't want us to forget about the fact that the ordinance requires us to submit a report in December. And I think, and hopefully the city attorney is not listening, she's not, ready to throw things at me, but I think we can probably get a delay because we really haven't done anything much this year. But let's not forget about that, because we are running into trouble by violating the ordinance by not submitting a report at all. So.
Sure. And we've had James in the past, so let's make sure Paul is aware of that this group needs to submit a report before the end of this month. I know in the past we have done the actual presentation of the report to the city commission in January, I think, just because of a timing issue, maybe once or twice over the years.
I think you're right.
So that part, if it needs to be an in-person presentation or a Zoom call presentation, we could accomplish that. If it is just a report this year and it's a sheet of paper compared to the beautiful pictures and things we've done in the past, that might be able to be accomplished in a quick Zoom call with Paul.
Do you want me to communicate with Paul and just see what his feeling is about this, and just say, it's usually a quite lengthy report because we usually have a lot of things going on, but we don't this year. Yes. What do you suggest, and see what he says?
I have all James's templates from that, so if that would be helpful. But as you say, it's going to be much abbreviated this year, so.
I don't think there's a ton of new pictures unless we can get a bunch of sharing the warmth pictures.
No.
But most of our activities take place in the late spring and the summer, and we hadn't done a lot of that this year before our pandemic. So kind of is what it is. But we might be able to utilize that to speak about some of the other stuff we're going to do here between now and the end of the fiscal year, which would be good, I think. So thank you, Pat, for bringing that up. And hopefully we can interface with Paul to get that in front of you guys at the commission meeting.
Yeah, I'll email him and just say, what do you suggest here, and see what he says.
Beautiful. Any other thoughts about the mosaic? All right, I'll move us ahead. Subcommittee reports, program reports, public art, which would include Art Explored, nothing. Artist Laureate program, currently nothing. We just talked about that. Public piano project, nothing, but sharing the warmth. Denise.
Got something. So good news and bad news. Good news is a group from the seniors, and I tried to find the woman's name in my email real quick and I can't find her. Anyway, they donated a big kitchen garbage bag full of wonderful scarves. So that's great. And another woman reached out to me, Karen Schwartz Davis. I don't know her, but she gave me a small bag of some beautifully knitted stuff. So our stash is good. So not this past weekend, the weekend before, I went to hang the first round of items. That railing is a disaster. The whole knitted thing has just rotted out. Somebody was pinning things to it because I found all these rusted, it was like a tetanus shot waiting to happen. It was all these rusted big safety pins. So I don't know if people were hanging things from it through the summer, but anyway, it's a disaster. So I'm in the process of re-knitting a cover because it just looks horrible. But I still did hang stuff. People had been hanging garments and some other stuff. There was a coat, and we used to have a table in the library where people would donate. And since we don't have that table, people are just putting stuff out there. So I kind of made one end of it that kind of stuff to keep it separate from our art, the handmade garments. So I was going to go this weekend, and then it was so ugly out, and I need to go back, probably replenish, maybe take out some wet stuff, dry it, and switch it up. That's usually what I end up having to do in the rainy weather. But yeah, so I'm feverishly knitting to make the cover because it looks so bad. It looks so bad. When you said photos, I'm like, oh no, no photos, no photos. But it's been up. It's been up over a year. We left it up, which we don't usually do. So it just rotted through.
That is awesome. So you have people donating things. We
Yeah.
have people making things. It's out there for people to take even in this time. And
Yeah. And people are reaching out to the librarian, Emily, and then Emily will refer, gives me their information to contact them. So it's just great.
beautiful. That would
Yeah.
be something great to speak about in that report to the city commission, by the way. The fact that initiative is still going, and to acknowledge some of those people if we have
Yeah.
a list of
Yeah.
them as well. So having some record of that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I'll do better with the names. I'll dig them up.
And the mosaic, that should be in that report, right? So
Yeah.
2 significant accomplishments, better than none. And then some new things. Anything further with that, Denise?
No, that's it. I'll keep you updated as we go.
Awesome. Not to digress, but you got a new corporate overlord today, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
A new bank merger. Look at that. Sorry, I don't know why I thought of that when I was thinking of you.
Yep.
Good times.
Good times.
Moving on. Performing arts summer concert series is at 0 at the moment. Maybe next month we could start talking about what the summer might look like if we were to do something, because that does fit into next fiscal year if I'm not incorrect.
July, yeah.
Because it's July. So we'll talk about how we would move forward with something like that. We have a few months to get to worry about that, I think, this year. So no worries. Sculpture garden project. I don't think we've made any progress with that, right, Pat?
I haven't heard anything. No.
No worries. We just lost Laura, but maybe she's having a connection issue. There she is. Woohoo! You're back.
I'm back. Internet crazy.
No worries. On our agenda, the finance and community engagement, which will be some things to talk about. Celebration of the arts. We see a laughter from Melissa, so that's where that one's at. But it does bring us to unfinished business, which is the part that I wanted us to get back to, and that is Melissa did a fantastic job of coalescing a bunch of things into some slides. If you want to share your screen, Melissa, you are welcome to.
You might have to look at all the ugly stuff that's behind it too, but no, all I really did was I just took some notes last week. And can you see my screen now? It was giving
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
me
Yep.
right. Perfect. I really like full screen, but for some reason there it is. Or not. Yeah, sweet. I really just took notes, and then Laura and I kind of had a little bit of sidebar, and then as well as some information from Jody from before. And I was lucky to be a recipient of a grant through another program through Oakland County, a small one. So a little bit of my learning process from that, but it's not that exciting. So I really just I want to make up a name because I think it's important. So I was thinking about it being Keep the Culture Alive with our local artist grant program. And it would be a way to impact our local artist community, helping them relieve their financial burden that they're having right now due to lack of business and lack of income because of COVID. We all know that. We talked about looking at $25,000 for the reward. Initially, I started like trying to slice and dice this 100 ways so we could give like 10 to 10 little kids and 50. And then when Laura wrote back to me, she was really like, we should just say we'll give up to $5,000 so we could give like a big one, and then whatever else we determine is necessary. We were talking really specifically about it being Royal Oak people, and that makes it a lot different than the one I was a part of before because it was the whole entire county of Oakland County. So I know personally quite a few local artists in Royal Oak, but I don't know those people, their willingness to apply for a thing like this, or if they would. So we could come together then once we've determined after a short period of time how many actual people have applied so that we could make sure that our money is allocated in the smartest way. Also, we talked about notifying them via email and giving them a certain period of time in order to respond to us so that we didn't end up hanging for a really long time. So they'd have to give us a valid telephone number and a valid email address. And then they would have like 7 days or less to respond, or they would forfeit their reward. And if we gave away a big award or a couple of big awards, maybe we could try to do some kind of a social distanced event, depending upon, of course, what happens in the early summer and spring. Um, and then we all talked about, I do have a slide about a more detailed timeline. Sorry, it's kind of whacked order. My apologies. Um, so we did talk also about trying to make sure that we were leveraging what our group is doing for promotion, not only to benefit both the arts in our community in Royal Oak, but also the overarching goal of our city, and then those artists to promote them as well. There's a lot of really good, warm, fuzzy stuff about doing this. And so I think the initial outreach is not only just us individually to specific artists that we know, but it's that conversation with some of the bigger players in the press. I have a couple of contacts in some of the media outlets. I know that Jason knows quite a few people that write and do things like that. I'm sure if we all thought about it, if I sit down and write a halfway decent press release and you guys take a look at it, you can all help me distribute something really nice to get some good attention. I'm more than happy to work on that part of it. Um, we do have a social media page for our group. I don't know who owns it. I tried to post to it earlier to share our really cool mural. But we could leverage not only just ours, but the city of Royal Oak, their conduit. They have a lot of followers and they do a lot of nice promotions. Hopefully, Judy would back us and help with some email communication on her behalf if we could get some support from the city on a single page, or at least edit the page that we have on our website for our event.
On those notes, I do know that I think there's a new city website coming with the ability for different department heads or something to edit their own pages. I heard that in a meeting the other week. So, and then that piece of the Facebook page, my guess is there's somebody in an IT department that needs to have the credentials for that one. Pat?
There is a new city website design coming. I'm not sure where it is, given the COVID restrictions and, and who's working in City Hall and who's not. I haven't seen any updates on it recently. I know that, and Carol is listening, she can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that Judy Davids coordinates most of the city of Royal Oak, the city Facebook pages, and works an awful lot on publicity through other media. And just to step back a second, I think it's important that I reach out to not only Paul but also our acting city attorney, and also Julie Rudd, who's our finance director, just to make sure that number one, they're all aware of, if we decide to go forward with this, that this is what we're doing and that we have the authority to do it, and that we don't need a budget amendment to do it, to allocate funds for it. And also, do we need city commission approval? Because the ordinance that we have suggests that the city commission has to approve major things that we do. And so the fact, if it does indeed have to be on the city commission agenda, that would be a jump start to publicity about the program, because then it could go from there. And you're going to be in a public meeting, and we can, use that as a springboard for the publicity. But I really think that, and I can do this, I need to run it by those three people just to make sure that, number one, we can do this, we have the authority to do this, we can spend the money this way, and that the city will be behind us. That will make it, if the city commission does have to approve it, it will make us a partner with the city in terms of this program, which is a good thing because we'll be able to use all of the city resources to publicize it. But it also means it will, not that they're going to make up the decisions for us, certainly in terms of who would be getting the grants and so on. That would be our decision, but they will be an official partner with us on this. So and I can do that, I think, relatively quickly, but I think before we go too far down this path and just announce something and start the ball rolling, I think we need to clear those hurdles first.
My intent wasn't that we were jumping through anything really. I was just trying to push the ball forward.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
and you, the presentation that you have and all of the pages that you put together is fabulous. I mean, it's great. And I'm not suggesting that this is not going to happen because of that, but I don't want anybody blindsided. I don't want to buy it. Julie, refinance director, when she gets requests to write checks, she needs to understand why she's going to be writing the checks. So, so I just need to make sure that they're all in the loop as we move forward with this.
Sorry, Jason.
Oh, I was just going to say on that note, not everybody here would know, but Pat knows. I did reach out to the chair of our Oakland County Commission to see if there were other resources to match these funds. And he was going to research that a little bit. There might be some more COVID funds or something that they could allocate to this effort, maybe even matching, so we could double the amount of money that we have in this pot, which would be fantastic. And the other thing that I asked him might be if there were some resources or best practices they have at a county level for administering a program like this. That might be very helpful for us in terms of submissions for projects or whatever it is that however we're deeming things, funding things, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was going to research that a little bit and connect me to somebody who just had done one for the county. So, I haven't reached back out to him for a week or two, but I think timing wise, we're probably still a month or a month and a half away from having something together to announce in this regard. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take us, with holidays and other things, a little bit of time here to move it all forward. Melissa, you have more thoughts and ideas. I know you do. Haha.
Well, my real hope was that this presentation would be just a way for you, Pat, to help us ferret through the city. Because I think if you present it with information behind it that we've actually thought through this process from our perspective, I think that will hopefully help you sell it. And then I'm hoping out of this we come up with a couple more questions that we can answer before you go on our behalf. So I really was just trying to get us going. And I had just lived through this experience personally, so I wasn't intending to step on anyone's toes.
Could you? No, not at all. There's no stepping at all. You're totally grabbing the ball and run with it. That's the way this works. Can you step us through the slides there on that thing? Because we're just seeing the first page, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I guess I was really talking through the slides when we were talking about it. But so my thought was the program would have to somehow start at some point in January to early February to work on.
Sorry, can you scroll down on that? What we're seeing is an Adobe window. Up. We're seeing a PDF. There you go. Yeah. So.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We were still seeing the very first slide. So if you want to go to the second slide and then.
Whacked out. Sorry about that, Jason. I'm like, really? I thought that it was scrolling through the whole thing. So.
No worries. Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to explain why I was asking that. That's all.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. So basically, I just did a detailed information regarding what we had talked about last.
Okay.
Let me know I'm not. I've already said this information to you.
Yeah. How about the next one?
Sure.
Promotion, social media, website. Okay. And then timeline: January, February, April, June. Got it.
Was to have it completed right before the fiscal year ends. Was that? I mean, that was what we were talking about, right? Trying to hit the end of the budget.
It could be, yeah. And the other thought is, it might be that we start to get a trickle of projects, and we start to fund a few here and there, and then keep funding them until we run out of money, or we could get enough submissions right in the beginning to have to do them all at once.
I don't know. So basically, my thought really was we would try to open up the application process at the end of February and give them a month. And you and I both know that that is too long for people to actually respond with what their plan is. You know, so I don't know. So that was just my hope, was that we would be able to leverage like a Google form to do some voting. And then we would be able to just get kind of a report out of that. So it wouldn't be somebody manhandling every last submission constantly. And then we would have to figure out, what the criteria is for awards and all of that stuff. So
Are we all in agreement? Are we funding? So our mission is to encourage and support arts and culture in the city of Royal Oak, I think is the way our mission reads, right? So are we going to fund projects or just hand out money?
I didn't think it was just handing out money. I really was hoping it was a project, but I also know that people can't pay their bills right now. So I don't know how that works for you.
And the only reason I asked the question is just for broader input. Maybe Denise and Pat have some thoughts about that. Yes, Pat.
Well, when I was looking at all of this, what I thought was missing was some criteria as to who could apply. And that gets back to the issue as to what are we funding. I know that when cultural organizations like the Royal Oak Symphony Orchestra applied for one of the cultural grants that was offered by Oakland County, and they were awarded a grant. But in the application, they had to demonstrate that they were a 501c3, and that they had to describe in detail how the virus and what has been going on about the virus has impacted their ability to, or has diminished their ability to do what they do, and how that has had a negative impact on them. And it had to be fairly detailed. And so that's what I think so far is the missing piece here is we say we all know a lot of artists in the community, but are we talking about artists who make their living exclusively by selling their art or by performing? Or are we opening it up to artists who only earn part of their living selling art? And how do we
weigh those things?
How do we verify that so that we have some, when we actually go to making the decisions as to who gets the grants, that we know it's going to the people that we intended. So I think we have to be very careful about establishing the criteria for applying, and put some thought into that.
My thought is that I think if we concentrate on funding projects, but give somebody the ability to, in their project or in their application, acknowledge that they're professional artists and use and also acknowledge that we're using that to weigh the projects as well, it might be good. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I don't know. This is just coming out of my mouth as I'm thinking about it. But you are getting right to the heart of where I was leading with that questioning, and that is, is it just for professional artists, or do we want the 7-year-old who wants to do something amazing for his block artistically to get $300 to pay for the wood to build some project or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, or to buy their art supplies, or is it just hand an artist $1,000 because they have zero income this year because that's how they make their entire living? What are your thoughts, Melissa, on that?
Well, okay. So one, I, Melissa, make my entire living as a musician. However, my husband is an engineer, and his salary discredited my ability to collect on another portion of the grant that was available for me as an artist because we file our taxes together. So I tread lightly on the definition of 501c3 being how we would determine whether or not an artist is an artist and whether or not they have a valid requirement. I prefer just from, and it's not for me, but I'm thinking about other people I know that are also in similar situations. I'm lucky. My belly's full. I got a nice house. You know? So, but I also think about the fact that if we give them a requirement to create a project for us, then we are getting something really great as a deliverable in the end, no matter if the artist is a young child living at home with their family, that they would also not be a 501c3. So then we would limit those people out of it. And when we talked about it last month, we were talking about trying to have kids as well as adults. And I was on the game of maybe adults need it more than kids and it will still help kids. To me, I think it needs to be defined too. That was why I put in there the criteria needs to be defined because I don't think last time we talked we all had a good enough agreement on if it was only adults, only kids, if it was a project, if it was to pay your bills, right? So I don't have a good solution other than I would sleep on it and maybe come up with a better idea.
I personally like the idea of age isn't a factor, but art is, because it encourages and supports artists. I'm not worried about the age of the person applying, me personally. I like the idea of it being project based versus just need based because it does do what we need it to do. I think we could use a need threshold of some sort as a means to prioritize some projects, if that makes sense. Oh, we have this project or this project. This project is for somebody who's a professional artist who has zero income, who, you know, insert a few more check boxes they check on their application. That might weigh heavier than somebody who has all the means in the world at the moment to feed themselves. I think that could be a determinant of priority, but not necessarily a determinant of whether or not to indulge a project. And then the last piece that I was thinking of, what was it? So age isn't a factor. It's project based, and the third one was
Well,
the
you're
application.
okay.
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. The application comes from a Royal Oaker. That was the other part. But maybe the project doesn't include all Royal Oakers. So maybe somebody on such and such a street wants to throw a Memorial Day concert on their front lawn, and they need $500 to do it. And they're the artist doing it, but they invite a bass player from Royal Oak and and a drummer from Berkeley, and they got their, you know, singer from another city. That does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
could be a collaborative project, but the leader of the project should be a Royal Oaker, right?
Yeah.
Those are my gut thoughts as to some framework around that project part of it.
Sorry, Jason.
Yep.
This would be easier if we were in person because then I wouldn't be such a jerk. Pat, do you have any other ideas on how we could define them without it being that more business nonprofit entity sort of thing? That part's really bothering my mind.
I don't think any of them were going to be 501c3s. I think we keep that completely out of it. That was the threshold that the county used for their cultural grants, just to make sure that they were giving their grants to volunteer organizations as opposed to corporations. But that doesn't really apply to us. So I don't think I use that as an example just to show you how other entities like the county have developed criteria and, you know, kind of narrowed who is eligible, the eligibility criteria. Our eligibility criteria will be completely different, and probably nobody that's going to apply is going to be a 501c3. So, but I'm just saying that our criteria are going to have to be specific enough so that we can justify it when it comes time to actually make the awards and spend the money, because it's public money.
Yeah, of course. I just keep going back to the, if it's defined upon income based, then, and that was how the other Oakland County Arts Grant was that just got awarded recently, then that becomes a challenge for any artist affiliated. I mean, I'm affiliated with a lot of other artists that don't have the same income level as my family, but my family impacted my ability to help my other artists make more money. So, I don't, I
I
just,
also am worried that if it's based on somebody who needs the money, that people won't apply, because then when they get awarded, it's going to be, oh, those artists, they all got it because they needed the money. So yeah, I don't
So-
like that.
Well, the other thought, now here's the other thought. The other thought is, this is just thinking out loud. This is not an idea or even my idea per se or my position, but somebody could apply for it because they need the money and be so busy trying to get money or a job or part-time something or other, never complete their project. So we should put some parameters around the delivery of the project or some milestone in terms of, hey, you guys, we're going to throw a concert on this day. We can't give you the money till that day, or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, or you were gonna install a painting on your front lawn or whatever I can't even dream of all the awesome projects people will come up with, but there should be some
And-
threshold for completion, right?
And
Yeah.
I'm further thinking, yeah, absolutely, Jason. And if it is somebody who wants to discuss how much this helped them, that is fabulous PR. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even just how much it could inspire somebody. I mean, it's no matter what we do, it's not going to be that much help for anybody.
right.
But it is a tremendous help for arts and culture in our community and for a sense of community in our community as well. I that was the other point. I gave you three. I hope somebody's taking notes because I'm not writing all this down. But
I am, but
the
yeah.
fourth aspect of what I thought from the beginning of even bringing this up last month to everybody was that if the overarching theme of something in this is a defense, a development of community and about sharing as a community, I think that would be a tremendous byproduct of this. I don't know how much you can legislate that in the program itself, but if somebody was going to like get $500 to make a piece of artwork that hangs in their living room, I don't think that actually benefits the community, right? But if they're
Right.
if
Right.
they're doing something that is enjoyed or not enjoyed by others in the community, but provokes thought and reflection, because there's going to be somebody that wants to, use this as a means to poke and provoke. And that's kind of what art does, right? So
Right.
we want to encourage that as part of our community to have that diverse sort of discussion and background for some. Yes, Melissa.
sorry, I'm troublemaking in my mind. We wouldn't want this to be an organization like Stagecrafters. That's not the people we're looking to benefit with this, right? We're looking really for the individual citizen to impact the group community, but it's the individual citizen. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a really good point, because yeah, you don't want people like Stagecrafters to think, oh, here's another opportunity to get a little bit more money. I mean, I think we need to target individuals.
Yes. It could be an individual from
agree.
Stagecrafters that wants to throw a project with number of other people from Stagecrafters in some sort of way. But the Detroit School of Rock and Pop Music should not be applying for a grant from this program. This program's not for that. This is for projects that are going to be driven by a Royal Oaker, benefiting our community and in the arts, right? Where are we at in this agenda? Let me look here.
Sorry, you're still trapped in my laptop here. Let me stop.
No. I have the agenda in my email here. I just have so many windows open. Oh, do I have that open? I have it open. There it is. Okay. Okay, new business. Okay, I had one other thing later to tell everybody about an email I got. I haven't called her back yet, but no worries.
If you just tell me how I can help you all with this piece, I will do a little bit more or less. It doesn't matter to me. I just think it's a cool idea and it's a great thing for us to accomplish. So Pat, however I can arm you better for the conversation, write some more things down based on what we talked about, hit up with you guys a little bit more. I forgot, Jason, that you had mentioned to me you were talking to the other powers that be in Oakland County to get some matches, because I would have annoyed you about that today.
No, yeah, I hadn't emailed him back yet. He's been busy giving himself a raise, so I think there's some issues there they've been dealing with for the last week or whatever. I don't think we're on the top of the priority list at the moment.
Jason.
No, it's all good. I'm poking fun at politics, so
Yeah.
I try to stay out of the politics, but it's funny. So we can revisit that with them soon if we need to, and then Pat is going to run this up the logistical flagpole of, can we do this? Like, are we allowed to do it? Do we have the authority to create this? That's the first big hurdle, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I mean, I can probably get an answer pretty quickly. And if it does have to go before the city commission, you know, we can do that, you know, right early in January and just get that out of the way. We might have to have some, you know, quick subcommittee meetings in between now and then, just to make sure that what goes before the city commission is just something a little bit more than just an amorphous, we want to give out grants. But what Melissa has put together is a perfect thing that could go to them, just to kind of flesh out, you know, kind of where we're coming from, including some of this information that we're talking about this evening, that we're talking about individuals, we're talking about Royal Oak residents, we're talking about no age restrictions. It's not going to be need-based. And it has to be a project of some kind that the community benefits from. It's not just a project in their basement. So, I think with that we could go, but I really think we really have to clear that hurdle. But I think it can be done pretty quickly.
Let me know. Happy to help.
Okay.
And then, do we need any more subcommittees to meet on those issues we just sort of hammered out here? Or have we even had a subcommittee meeting for this? We probably haven't, right?
Does an email count as a meeting? We emailed back and forth in a very judicious manner in order to sort our thoughts out.
Do you want to do that one last time with these little revisions tonight?
I can. I'll mess around on this a little bit with the language, maybe first thing in the morning if that's okay with you guys, because Jake's chicken for dinner.
It could be at the end of the week. It's not. I don't think we're under the gun here, but
I want it to go, so I'll get it off my plate and Pat can have it.
But that gets us something to get in front of the commission. Should we be allowed to, by next, first or second meeting of January, or maybe first meeting of January, depending on the schedule for the city. And then we maybe we couple telling them about what we're up to for the year with that discussion.
Yeah.
Sure.
That might be a good way to sort of give them an update on what we did this year, but how we're going to fix it. Like, here's what we didn't do, but here's what we're going to do in lieu of that. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Anything we need to vote on in that regard? I don't know if there's anything we need to vote. We did the vote on what we wanted to do last month, right?
Did we vote on doing this project last meeting? I don't have the minutes.
We just voted on exploring it, right? That's how we.
Let's see. I'm afraid to check my email and knock myself off the internet, but
Hold on, I'll look here.
Maybe I should find out and be sure that we can do this before we vote to say, yeah, we're going to do this.
I thought we did vote, but yeah.
I feel like the dialogue was, we're going to explore this with a subcommittee and bring back our findings for this meeting right now. So we didn't approve anything yet that we can't do. We just explored if it's a good idea.
True. Yes.
That being said, I think we still have the ability to formalize. Here's the program at the next at January's Commission for the Arts meeting. Effectively, should we be able to do this, right? Cool. So we don't need to vote on anything right now, but we'll come back with a very formal proposal of what the program looks like and how it's going to work out. Awesome. Look at that. We accomplished some things. I have, or one major thing. I have one other thing to bring up, and that is just that I got an email from Commissioner Shar Douglas. It says, and just asking about developers and putting visual art on their facades, installation and maintenance. But I'd like to, Arts Commission, she'd look to the commission, the Arts Commission for works of art. I don't know if it's anything for discussion here, but it's just to inform you guys that there's a little bit of behind the scenes discussion. Yes, Pat.
You know, I don't think this came before us before because we hadn't had a meeting. What started this and what prompted, I think, Char's email to you was the Plan Commission approved the site plan for a new apartment building at the corner of Main Street and Austin. Anyway, it's on the west side of Main Street and it's right across the street from Hollywood Market. And it's one of those little streets there.
Yeah.
And it's an apartment building that will certainly face Main Street. It'll have a facade on Main Street, but it will primarily face with windows and front entrance and everything, the side street right there, which means that there is going to be wall portions on the back, on the north side of the building. They're going to be pretty plain. And what the Plan Commission recommended and agreed with the developer of the apartment building was that he would have some public art on that facade of the building. There is a piece of public art that is city property that has been hanging in the city manager's office, and it's quite large. It's a mural, and it's a mural.
Didn't we approve that last month?
Did we approve that last month?
We did. Yes.
Because it went before the city commission too, and I can't remember. I can't keep them apart. There's too much going on.
No, that's okay. So that we got that far with you on this last month.
Yes.
So that you know, all right, then what Char is doing is, it sounds like she's following up to say, is there any interest in us more formally getting involved with that process when other developers come before the Plan Commission? Because it was just convenient that that piece of art was available. The developer likes it. The city says, oh, great, this is a place to put it, because if there's no place to put it in the new city hall, it's in storage right now. And, you know, this is the perfect spot for it. But in the future, is this something that we want to encourage the Plan Commission to do, to, you know, to require or to suggest or to whatever to other developers that they include some public art in their project?
I on its face, I like the idea of encouraging developers to include public art. The only concern I had with the way Shar mentioned it was she would look to the Arts Commission, or which would be the Commission for the Arts, to for the art itself. And I don't know if we have the capacity to be the ones brokering artwork, I guess, if that makes sense, or being in the middle of that transaction. But I do see our ability to promote that interaction and or encourage artists to be a part of that with developers, and encourage maybe introductions and or like if there was a formal procedure for an architect or somebody to put out a notice of I don't know if there's a way for us to just be the broadcast mechanism for, hey, there's this building going up and we need a piece of artwork this size. Who in town wants to submit a proposal to them or whatever, you know? Maybe I'm thinking out loud, but you understand what I'm saying, Pat? I don't know if we could be the vehicle for the artwork itself.
I don't think we want to get ourselves in the position of saying, yeah, we like this one. No, we don't like this art. We can't. And I don't, given our powers and duties that are spelled out in the ordinance, I don't think that's in there. And if we want to say, because I think all of our gut feelings are we really don't want to do this, I think we can fall back on the ordinance and say that's beyond our powers. We don't have the power and the authority to do that. But if you want us to be standing by to give a developer advice, or, you know, kind of maybe if he's looking at maybe a piece of sculpture. If he would like to do some local sculpture, he could reach out to us and say, well, here's 5 people that you could talk to. Or if he's looking at some kind of panel art, which is what's going on in this new building, here's 6 artists in the community that you can talk to about that. Just kind of help facilitate that.
Right.
I think that would be certainly within our abilities and our interest level. But no, we don't want to be the judge and jury as to the pieces of art that they're going to propose.
No. But I do think that we could be the mechanism that allows for a marketing of a, like if there was a request for proposals for artwork for a project, we could broadcast that on our Facebook page or encourage the city to do so. That might be a way that we can be doing our duties as encouraging and supporting arts and culture in Royal Oak, but not necessarily be the intermediaries. I'm just thinking to the future. I don't know. But thank you, Carol, by the way. Everybody, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Right there. What I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yep.
Because that's a matter of our capacity, and then just thinking to the future of this body, whoever's sitting here in the future, their capacity to be able to manage that kind of process. I don't think we'll ever have that kind of capacity, and I don't think the city will ever have a huge enough budget to have 8 million staffers to handle that for us. So, definitely not in a COVID economy, I'm sure. So, and you guys probably haven't even started to feel the ramifications of this pandemic in terms of tax revenue yet. But my guess is next year you will.
Yeah, it's the ball waiting to drop for sure. I mean, property taxes are probably going to be okay, but state charge revenues, that's another story, and that's 22% of our budget. Oh,
good times.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I wanted to get some insight from you guys on that as to. I'll try to call Shar and just inform her at least a little bit about our discussion about it. Best for us not to get in the middle of it, but we'd love to be supportive of the Planning Commission encouraging art in our community. I know there was talk years ago of a percentage for art for large projects in our community or something like that, which would be mandating that a project uses art, like 3% of their budget for art, which gets a little pushy. To some people might see that as pretty pushy. I'm not necessarily completely supportive of that level of interaction per se, but I do like the idea of encouraging people to be good stewards of our community and to put beautiful things out for people to enjoy and or experience, because it only goes to improve the project they're working on and improve our community as a whole. So cool. Any other new business or unfinished business here at the end of things? I see none. The only other question is, when do we do this again? And I'll leave that to earlier. The website and social media was the topic. Judy assists with web pages and can make changes. You can submit things you would like to posted, but things to have to be approved. Social media, both Judy and I have permission, and we both post things as received. Aha. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah. And then as far as your next meeting, the third Monday is a holiday. So I don't know if you would be amenable to the third Tuesday, the next day, the following day.
I'll leave that question to all of us.
Which, let me get the date for you. I was looking at it earlier today because I thought this would probably come up. And I'm already working on January schedules. So
19th.
19th.
yes, I believe that's correct.
Is that cool with everybody?
That works.
So would that put us, is there a commission meeting on the 25th of January?
Hang on 1 second. Let me check.
Second and fourth. And yes, the commission is on the 11th and the 25th of January.
So would that be smart for us to meet on the 19th to finalize this program and our potential annual report to deliver to the commission on the 25th
It's
of January?
basically, let's see, you're talking about a Tuesday. You would be very tight on that because you would have to have all the documentation into me the next day for inclusion on that city commission agenda. Because
It
it
looks
Worst
like
case-
our,
goes out a
sorry.
little earlier,
No.
which is
Go ahead.
probably why it was on the first meeting in
February.
February last
Yeah.
year, if I had to guess. The other option I can offer to you is, you'd still be very tight on everything. You could do a meeting on Monday, January 4th, the first Monday. Or Wednesday, January 6th is open. The second week of the month is very difficult because there's city commission, planning commission, and zoning board. But we could possibly do something that week on Wednesday. And
I
that would
would,
be a little more time, and you could definitely get it on the January 25th agenda.
I'll leave that question to Pat, only because the biggest hurdle at the moment is Pat getting this through legal and leadership there, as to when we might be able to put the final details on our package or proposal to put in front of them to get a vote.
No, I think it would work, except there's the holidays in there, and I don't know
Yes.
who's taking time off and who's, going to be in town.
So
what
later
they're doing.
better.
Excuse me?
So later would be better. Maybe the first meeting in February.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
So stick with your meeting on January 19th then?
I think that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right.
With
Okay.
that, we've done so much in these two meetings, and I really appreciate you guys making time for this. I think this is great effort. Wouldn't you agree,
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
team? We don't have the reactions at the bottom of the Zoom call. I wish we had the little ones where I could put the little horn that goes "Blah," and has the confetti. But I really appreciate you guys being volunteers for the city and for this committee and for all the great stuff we do for people. It really is awesome. So
Hey, I found the lady's name that donated the big bag of, it's the Helping Hands group, and it's Lee Potter. Just want to give her a shout out.
Woohoo!
Because she went out of her way to contact the library to get a hold of me, so,
Nice.
yeah.
Beautiful. Maybe we should have a social media post about her. That would be fantastic on our
That would
Facebook
be.
page. We just have to send it to Carol, and she will help us.
All right, I'll do that.
Make sure that she is okay with that. Some people are
Oh, okay.
just make sure you clear it with her, and if she's okay with her name being on social media, because as you say, we have like 19,000 followers.
Yeah.
On the page, so
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
that.
And
She may want to just call it the Helping Hands group, is what she
That's
referred to.
Yeah.
That's a fairly significant sized group, in my recollection.
Is that-
And it's been delegated to say you're the one that has to call her. So,
Yeah.
those contributions came from a whole bunch of people.
Okay. I'll
Wonderful.
reach out to her though and let her know we're thinking of it.
And that gives us a community engagement message for this month. So that's great. And gets us some more thank yous and some more volunteers for our arts projects. So thank you, Denise, for heading that up.
Hey, my pleasure.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we did
Um,
we were able to get it on Facebook and Nextdoor, and we put it in 2 Friday e-blasts so far. So
Yeah.
hope it's helping.
I think it did. I got a few more requests to join the group on Facebook, so that's all good.
Before I ask for a motion to adjourn and support for that, a round of applause for Carol for being here with us and being our so awesome city
Yeah.
staffer.
Oh, you're most
Thank you,
welcome.
Carol. We really appreciate your support. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn? Sure.
Laura.
All
support.
right. And who else?
Second for you.
We'll give it to
Right.
Melissa raised at the same time as Pat, so we'll give it to Melissa. All in favor. I got to do a roll call,
Oh.
don't I? Denise,
Yes.
Yes, in favor.
Pat.
Yeah.
Melissa,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
go team. Look at that. We just adjourned. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everybody.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.